Hey, hi, what's up? Hello from the ceiling. How's the weather down there? Just kidding, I'm not on the ceiling. I've turned the display upside down so you can see my keyboard right side up. Welcome to today's virtual lesson in gospel piano technique. Dear Jesus, thanks for yourself, thanks for life, thanks for this time to practice and sharpen and hone the gift of music that you've given. Help us use it all for your glory and do everything for your glory. In Jesus' name, amen. Alright, so to get started, we'll start out with just the melody. This little light of mine being played in the right hand. Now, it's a good place to start. You can even pause and go back and learn just the melody if you want to learn that before going on. But either way, at least having seen and heard me play that gives us a strong foundation to build on. So, what else can we do? Well, for one thing, we can play that melody in two hands. But is that all we can do? Certainly not. So, what else can we do? Well, we can put a bass pattern with it. Like this. The melody starts out on several G's, an E, and a C. What chord does that make? Oh, C major. So, we can play the root, the C, the fifth, the G, the fifth down an octave, the G again, but lower, and then the fifth in the higher octave, like we did. We can make that a pattern in the left hand. We don't need to double strike that G. We could just make it all eighth notes. And look, notice I decided to add in a D and an E. Why? Because we're about to change chords. How do we know we're about to change chords? Oh, the right hand has several C's, and then an A and an F. What chord does that make? Yes, F major. So, the left hand is preparing for that chord. We're using what we call a walk-up. It's a form of using passing tones from the C, which is a chord note, stepping up till we get to another chord note, which is the F, the root of the new chord. So then, once we get into the chord of F, we can do first, fifth, lower fifth, and back to the upper fifth, like that. Just like we did, of course, with the C, except the first, or root, is F, and the fifth is C now. So it sounds like this. And then, our chord actually changes again. So, yeah, see? That sounds kind of weird. But, we can play... Oh, what did I just play there? I changed the left hand to F sharp and A. Oops. Like that. So, I was still doing root up to the fifth, down to the fifth, up to the fifth, until right then, and then I just changed it up right then, and that comes when we're playing. So this of mine, I'm gonna, oops, this of mine, I'm gonna shine. So I was still on the root and fifth of the F chord, and then there we go, F sharp and A. It could be thought of as part of the D chord, D major, D, F sharp, A, or part of the D7 chord even, D, F sharp, A, C. But if we think of it as the 7th chord, well, yeah, that doesn't quite harmonize very well with the B there. Even though we're not actually playing the entire chord, I think we should just say this is taken from notes of the D major chord. And then, because we had F sharp, F sharp C, and we're actually going back to that G in the right hand is taken from the C chord. So technically we're going back to the C chord, but instead of root fifth, down to the fifth, root fifth, down to the fifth, and up to the fifth, since we just did F up to C, F sharp up to C, I just make the lowest note go up a half step to G, the fifth of the chord. So then I did G up to C, so fifth up to root, and then down an octave to C, so the lower root, and back up to the root. So, oops, like that. F, C, F sharp, A, and then G, C, low C, C. Then the next line is just like the first line, except when we get to I'm gonna let it shine, then we change the left hand pattern to make it sound like we've got a different chord. So we have the root and fifth from the C chord, but then we have the B and the G. Well, the right hand is playing G and then A, so G and then E. So what have we got really? We've got an E, a G, and we've got a B. Just the B is down there. So it's an E minor chord. So the chord is changing from C major to E minor. And then, what's it changing to there? We've got an A, a C, except the C is not in the middle, it's way up here, and then an E. What is that? A, C, E. An A minor chord, yes. So, see how that works? And then, there we go. A flat and F. That's because it's like we're taking those from the F minor chord. F, A flat, C. Then, we want to just the chord is going back to the C major, but we're going to, since we just played A flat and F, the A flat leads nicely down to the G, and the F leads nicely down to the E. So instead of root and fifth, we're going to go fifth up to third, because G is the fifth and E is the third. That's why we call it that. So Then we go. So that time, we just did the same thing twice. G up to E, G up to E. Then G up to F, G up to F. And I think I did something like that there. So, the G and the E are from the C chord, C, E, G. And then the G and the F are from the G7 chord, which would be G, B, D, F. And I know this E here in the melody clashes with that F, but it's just for a moment. So it's okay. And then we could do different things, kind of like that, or what we did before, or that. But what I'm doing is, I've got the root of the C chord here. Let it shine. Shine is on the C, the root. And then what's the third? E. What's the fifth? G. In the C major chord. And then the chord changes from C to F. So what are the notes of the F chord? F, A, and C. So I've already got the melody note of C holding out in the right hand, and then the left hand goes something like that. It does something with the A and the F, whether we just want to do eighth notes there or put a passing note in between them, like that G there. We could even end it with a harmonic interval, the E and the G in the left hand. Or, and I think this gives it the most stability, we could end with the C chord in the root position. So, it would sound something like this if we put that all together. Sorry. Yeah, we could do what I was doing before, E, G, or we could do C, G. And notice, I did end up on the C, E, G altogether, the blocked C major chord there at the end, to give us a nice finished feel. So, those are a few different ways to play this little light of mine. Now, we can do other things like we can blues it up a little bit. Blue gospel, like what am I doing there? Well, C, E, G, there's the C chord. C, F, A, that's an F major chord in the second inversion. If it was root position, the F would be on the bottom. Maybe something like F, A, C. As long as the F was on the bottom and we had the A and the C somewhere, it would be in the root position. But I put the C on the bottom. That gives it the second inversion. If the A is on the bottom, it's the first inversion. If the C is on the bottom, it's the second inversion. So I went from the C major in root position with the root on the bottom to F major in the second inversion with the fifth on the bottom. And then I just walked that middle note F up to G while I walked the top note A up to B flat. And I kept that C on the bottom. those are notes taken from the C7 chord. If we had the full C7 chord, it would be C, E, G, B flat. But we've just heard the E recently in the C major. So, and in the melody, there's that E there. So it doesn't matter if we don't have that E there. Makes it a little easier to play. And then we just reverse what we've done in the left hand there. Oh, what did I do there? I didn't reverse it all the way. That time I didn't all the way back to the C major. I did C7 without the E, F, second inversion, and then back to the C7 without the E. Why? Because that seventh, that B flat, gets our ears ready to hear that A, and so it gets our ears ready, by extension, to hear that FAC, that F major chord. What did I do there? FAC, F major, F B flat D, that's B flat major, but in the second inversion. And then, do you see a pattern here? F, C, E flat, that's just the F7 without the A. And then I reversed it. So that's what you can do then on that little phrase there. And then this time we're playing a little bit different chord than we took the notes from in the left hand before. Yes, we've got that F major chord. That part's the same, but we've got an inverted B chord. B, D sharp, F sharp would be the root position, but just to make it a good transition. Well, actually, I think that would be an even better transition between the F chord and the C chord. We have the B chord in the first inversion. Remember, the B on the bottom would be the root position, and then the D sharp, the third on the bottom, makes it first inversion. There. So F, B first inversion, and then C first inversion, because that's just everything up a half step. The D sharp moves up to the E, while the F sharp moves up to the G, and while the B moves up to the C. See? Get it? See? I didn't mean to do that. And then I just did, I didn't go C chord to F chord to C7, I just did C chord in the first inversion, F chord, root position, back to C chord in the first inversion. There. Like that. So then, we go back and do what we did at the beginning. And then, we change it.
Hi, teacher. You have a class starting soon.
Whoops.
Hi, teacher.
Excuse me.
You have a class.
Yeah, so, the C major goes to, what is that? E, D, G. Oh, first inversion of the G chord. And then goes to A, C, E. What's that? Ah, A minor in root position. Oh, what's that? It kind of clashes because we've got that F and that E. But it's okay because it's just for a moment. But what is that chord? We went from A, C, E, the A minor chord, twice, to the A flat, C, F. What is that? Oh, that's the first inversion of the F minor chord. Root position would have the F on the bottom. Most commonly played F, A flat, C, or most commonly thought of that way. Yeah, but we've got the A flat on the bottom. Alright, then, well, just to make a good progression, when we go back to that, remember we're going back to the C chord there, but when we go back to that, the easiest way to do that is keep the C there in the middle, make that A flat go down to a G, make that F go down to an E. Ah, there we go. We should change the C chord from finger 3, the middle, to the second finger, the index finger. That's the standard fingering for chord inversions. All right, and then now we could go from that G, C, E, that second inversion C chord, to a few versions of the root position. I didn't say inversions, but a few versions depending on which notes we use from the G7 chord. We could go shine red, G, B, F, leave out the D, or that's what I did first, G, D, and F. I like the G, B, and F better. Either way, we still have a little bit of a clash between the F and the E, but the G, B with the F draws attention away from the clash. The B doesn't clash with the E. The G doesn't clash with the E. So I like G, B, F there. If we did G, D, and F, then the E clashes with the F and the D at the same time. So I like G, B, and F. And then we can just go to the C chord in the root position. So, oops. And we could even do that, just to maintain that blues feeling, or get back to that blues feeling. What is that? Well, it's a little bit different rhythm than we did at the beginning, but it's that same harmony of C chord in root position, F chord in second inversion, C7 in root position without the E, and reversing it. See? It's a little bit different than what we were playing before, but it still gives us that blues feeling. So, the nature of this is improvising, and I'm giving you some ideas, and I may not play it exactly the same way twice, but with those guidelines, it'll sound something like this. Alright, so maybe I did I do the, not just now, but before, did I do the same rhythm? Actually, maybe I did. Same rhythm at the end as I did at the beginning. Alright, but we could do it different ways. We could do it fast. We could do a lot of things. But what we're doing in the left hand is basically, most of it is a vamp, a repeated accompaniment pattern. And it's important to know how to vamp when we're improvising in gospel or contemporary styles. We're often just given a chord chart. We may not even have the melody. And I've been teaching you how to play it with the melody, but we won't always be playing it with the melody. Sometimes we might just be playing chords and other accompaniment and just letting the vocalist, which could be us or somebody else, pick up the melody at the same time just by singing. Or we could be in an ensemble and maybe the piano is functioning as part of the rhythm section, and then some melodic instrument is just playing the melody while we're playing the accompaniment. So we could do something like "It's the light of mine, gonna let it shine." Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm doing the vamp in the right hand, and I'm changing up the rhythm the way I feel, and I'm doing something similar to what I was doing before earlier in the left hand. Remember, earlier I was going. This time I was just going just down to fifth, down to fifth. So those are different ways you can improvise on This Little Light of Mine, and you can apply those in gospel style to lots of different songs. So let me know if you have any questions. But remember, it's improvising. I may not play it exactly the same way twice. You may not play it exactly the same way twice, and that's okay. So, right now, we're getting ready to go. I just want to let you know that I am accepting new students, and if you're going to take online lessons, the first lesson will be free. If you're going to need in-person lessons, then there'll be fees for travel. I can travel certain distances, and we can figure that up. But I am taking new students. I'm welcoming students in piano, voice, music theater, general music, piano, voice, music theater, general music, songwriting, composing, and, Lord willing, I'm about to start teaching Ultimate Music Theory, which is a really exciting course that makes learning music concepts really fun to teach and learn, and it helps with whatever instrument you play, including your voice or the piano or anything else. Even if you're already taking lessons in voice or in an instrument, it makes a good supplement to this. So, Ultimate Music Theory lessons coming soon as well. Alright. Lord willing, I'll keep you posted about that in future videos. Okay, take care. Jesus loves you. Keep the music going.